G'day and welcome to another episode of Kiwi Car Life. And if you want a large engine and manual transmission vehicle, if you have $100,000 to spend, sure, you could maybe find yourself a Porsche or an RS4 or an M3 or something like that. But if you're on a budget and you want a V8 with a manual gearbox, there's really not that many options to consider. But one of these old 2004 Audi S4s will fit in the sub 10 grand bracket. And today we're going to see if it's worth the small amount of money that you can pay.
It's interesting to see how cars have changed in just a few short years. Today, the RS or M or Type R model looks totally different to the standard one on which it was based. But back in the day, there were only subtle hints to give it away that something special was hiding under the bonnet. Aside from the S4 badge, the front end looks basically identical to an A4 with the distinctive 2000s 3-bulb Audi headlights, and the back has twin exhausts and a spoiler, but not a whole lot else. Even the A4 came with these fender flares, so unlike the E46 this competes with, that's not even bespoke to this car either. I like though that this one is New Zealand new, so it has the original European style B number plate and the factory fat spoke wheels.
The engine is Audi's very well known 4.2 litre V8, except this one has a twist because it is one of the earlier 5 valve per cylinder V8s, which means that it has 40 valves total, 3 on the intake side and 2 on the exhaust side. It makes 253 kilowatt or 340 horsepower, which is quite a bit of power actually, the same amount of power in fact as an E46 M3, and it makes even more torque, 410 Newton meters. So it's certainly quite a powerhouse for the best part of a 25-year-old engine. But from looking under the bonnet, you'll see that it is slung really far forward. These Audis are known for being quite nose heavy, and it's not surprising because it has a massive 4.2 litre engine and all of it is in front of the front drive shafts. The reason for that is because, of course, this has Audi's Quattro four-wheel drive system. In this particular one, it's paired up amazingly with a 6-speed manual transmission. So long as, like with any European car, you service it regularly and look after it, these engines are actually not half bad, except for one part of them, which is the timing chain.
It's right at the back of the engine, and there are 4 separate chains that drive all 4 camshafts, the power steering pump, water pump, and oil pump. The guides are plastic and can crack. The tensioners can get weak over time, causing the chains to skip, and the chains themselves can stretch, throwing the timing out and making the engine lose power.
And now the interior. Unfortunately, this is one of the best but also worst parts about this car. By the 2010s, they had things pretty well sorted, but in the early 2000s, compared with say an E46 or even like an Accord Euro, these Audis really show their age. All the buttons are peeling down here, and rather than having knobs to control things, it's all buttons, so you have to click away on these buttons to get anything to do what you want. There's 0 buttons here on the steering wheel, which just kind of makes it look a bit base model-y, if I'm honest. The gauges are very simple. The screen in the middle looks extremely dated. It doesn't have heated seats. It doesn't even have auto lights, and it only has one fairly average cup holder. The seats are fantastic. Maybe that's because they're made by Recaro and not Audi. The manual change is surprisingly light. Same with the clutch. That's really light as well. So I'm sure it'll be a fantastic drive, but it is something to keep in mind that when you're buying these, the interior is one of the worst parts about it. Now, let's see if the driving experience lives up to the 10 grand purchase price. One of the best parts about this Audi, with it being designed for autobahn cruising, is the ride quality. It manages to be kind of sporty while still being really supple. But the 4.2, how does it go? That's some stellar performance, and the sound is a delight, man. With that dirty noise of the Audi's 4.2 litre V8. In theory, this car's got a Miltec on it, but it's not very loud, whereas that RS4 that I reviewed also had a Miltec, and that thing was really loud. A long time ago, I reviewed a W8 Passat. Same era as this, but obviously from Volkswagen rather than Audi. It has exactly the same transmission, but with the W8 instead. This is faster, it's better sounding, it's got a better interior, it looks better on the outside, and yet that video has got like 200,000 views and no one would care less about this Audi. It is a brilliant car, but because it's just an old Audi, it just kind of fades into regular traffic. If you're like me and you look for a car that is sharp, great handling, with a nice amount of power, not going to absolutely tear your face off, but enough that when you put your foot down it really hauls, then this is a brilliant driver's car. Throttle response is perfect for going up and down gears. Engine revs right to 7,000 RPM, makes a glorious noise. Perfect amount of power on a road like this where you can actually use it. Engine responds marvelously well, and the four-wheel drive, look at that, just pulls you out of corners. Brakes are really strong on this thing, and while the interior is very dated and reliability is perhaps a little bit questionable, at the end of the day you're left with a car that costs a tenth what it did new, but still drives like a $100,000 car, and I'm not disappointed. This thing is a absolute joy. I love it. I think if you drove one of these you would too. It's a really great drive. Thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.